Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, and welcome back to another episode of Top Tier Talk. One FA Cup game this weekend, which was Manchester United, but before that, midweek Premier League games. Chelsea 4, Southampton nil. Amir, Cole Palmer blank, but you win 4 nil. Take it away.
Yeah, if we didn't win this game, then I think Maresca's job would have been on the line here. But yeah, very easy win. Levi Cotwell got on his birthday, and Kunku getting on the score sheet. Pedro Neto with a great finish. All around good win against a very poor side. So we got Leicester on Sunday. That's 6 points. If that's another 3 points, then it should really put us back into the fight for top four properly. Because I think it's quite close between us, City, Forest, and is it Bournemouth are in there as well, if I'm not mistaken?
As it stands, Bournemouth are 4 points off
Yeah,
Man City in fourth. So, feasible.
exactly. And if Forest carry on like losing or drawing games, then it should be City and Chelsea in that top four. And it will be a good season for us. We've always got the Conference League back as well. We've got Copenhagen, who's a tough side for Man United. So yeah, struggling a lot against them in the Champions League. Do you remember?
That's the past, move. We're in a worse place now.
So I'm trying to make you think happy thoughts. Uh,
It's not
Not
possible
possible.
for a United fan at the moment, unfortunately.
should really be winning that, winning the tournament. And yeah, I guess it's just a top four race now. We're not in the FA Cup. We're not in anything, are we? So it's just top four and winning the Conference League, which think would be a good season. And hopefully Cole Palmer gets back on form. But it's nice, it's not nice, but it's nice to see the goals are being shared around a bit.
I think
I
it's
mean, what would be a great season? You just said that would be a good season. What's better than that?
Sorry?
getting to
What's
the top
better than
four, I
that?
guess.
Getting top four and winning the conference. No, you said getting top
Oh,
four and winning conference would be a good
Then we
season.
can't get better than that, can we? We aren't winning the league. Is
Yeah,
it?
so that's an outstanding season.
Yeah, that's what I mean. That's why I'm not Maresca
Oh,
up.
okay, okay. I thought you were putting him down. Yeah, I was like,
but if by
No, no,
some
no.
if by some mishap you don't win the competition, or you risk out.
No, but if you guys remember back to the start, didn't I say that would be the minimum, a top four
what?
and conference? No, do you
At
not
the start of
remember?
the season?
I probably said that, a
You
top
said, I think
four and
you
conference.
said minimum was conference because of no disrespect to them, but as Chelsea
Yeah,
Football Club, you should be winning that. Most English teams that
yeah.
go in there should be progressing to the semis.
Tottenham should have won it. Look, West Ham's won it. If West Ham can win, what was Tottenham's excuse? What was I'm not trying to downplay West Ham, but what's our excuse? We are the best team in it. We've got the highest budget. One of the teams, Noah, I think like was it Nkunku cost more than him or something? I could be making that up out of thin air. It could be more than that club or even someone less expensive. But no, we got the best team, we got the best squad, and I think Cole Palmer's in the squad list now
He's
as
in
well
it, yeah.
for the
Yeah,
Conference
the
League. So
knockouts.
I mean,
yeah,
would you sack him if you would you be Maresca out if you didn't win conference and didn't get Champions League?
no, I don't think so because I think I've seen enough for us to build. Since the new year, the form hasn't been great, but circumstances as
So,
well.
so you
I
would
mean,
give him until the end of this calendar year to reassess,
I
would you
would.
say?
I don't think there is a need for a reassess. He's done much better than Poch has. Another transfer window to get more experienced players. The only issue is still um with the transfer policy. There was a little protest last week before the game about like against Clear Lake, but yeah, we don't want to be like a profit, like a cash cow, do we? We want to be the club back to winning trophies. So then this policy. We bought a youngster again. I think last week Fabrizio started this week. Fabrizio announced that we got another young player coming in. This kids policy I don't really understand. So
I think
well,
it
I
is
understand it in terms of
genuinely FFP and buy
profit.
to sell. Yeah, I think
It
that's
probably
it.
is, but at the same time, I don't want it to hurt our chances of winning trophies because if you look under like trophies, Chelsea Football Club's been there for the last 20, 25 years of
But
winning
I was
consistently.
gonna say, I think it is. I think it's literally a case of if you buy someone for, say, 5 million, which is realistic for a 16,
No, that's
17,
cool
18
and
year
that,
old,
but that's
and
fine.
I was gonna say, so that's a drop in the ocean for your transfer policy. If you're gonna be spending 40, 50, 60 million on a couple of players that you need, as you said, a goalkeeper, for example, or
Yeah.
depending on what happens with Reece James, a right back or things like that. If you're spending 5 million on someone to sell for 30, 40 million in 3 years' time, it will probably
No,
even itself out. But I do
but
get what
that's
you're
all
saying.
good.
It's a
That
dangerous line.
no, it's all good. Like the issue I have is just doing that transfer policy, just buying the young kids, but then not improving the team because there was a lot of
Gaps in your team.
gaps in this team, as you say, goalkeeper, probably a experienced centre back, maybe another midfielder, an actual number nine. There are a few gaps here, but if they don't get addressed and we carry on with this kids policy, then I can see why people would protest because we're not a cash cow. We're not here to just make profits and investment and make it all Americanized and stuff.
I think I was going to say that's probably the end of Chelsea, really, like in terms of the segment. I mean, there's not much else. You touched on the protest, you've touched on your one game, I suppose. There's obviously anything come out of the weekend, obviously while they weren't playing, any news or anything like that, or
Sorry about players.
like just anything in general, anything come out the club. Obviously, there's never tends to be a quiet
Yeah.
news day at Chelsea, does it?
I
Really?
don't know if they really addressed the whole protest. I'm not sure how big it was. I mean, across social media, like I was up to date with it and in the fan channels, but I'm not sure if they commented on it. But it's just a waiting game and seeing. But Leicester is a must win on Sunday. I mean, like,
Yeah, they're not very good. No disrespect to Leicester, but they're not very good, are they? Really, so, like you said,
no,
you've
no,
got a good couple of games.
I
It's
wouldn't even agreed with them bringing Van Nistelrooy in, to be honest, in terms of staying on. That probably hurt their chances even more. But yeah, they're definitely not a great side.
moving on to Elliot, I suppose, from one team whose season is ranking on top four to Arsenal's, who is now cemented in the top four. I think you can agree now that the league is probably over. 13 points. Yes, you've got a game in hand, and you've got to play Liverpool. That still only brings it down to 7 points with what 20 odds to play for at that point. Take it away.
Dan, it's not over till it's over. So it's looking more and
Is
more
that a coping
unlikely.
mechanism?
It's looking more and
Yeah.
more unlikely to the point where it's probably not possible, but it's never 100%. So don't rule us out. But anyway, Nottingham Forest nil, Arsenal nil. It was a pretty action-packed game to be fair. There was a lot of chances from both teams. I think it's definitely showing from our side that our attackers were definitely missing for sure. I think Gibbs White was playing a good game against us. Chris Wood was obviously playing a good game against us as well. There's a few chances from him, which luckily Saliba, of course, helped us out a lot. There was a couple chances, obviously, from Odegaard as well, which, as you can, it's kind of annoying at this point as well because I keep bringing him up, and obviously I don't want to badmouth him because he is our captain and he is supposed to be this magical kind of number eight who's good, but at the moment he's not finding his flair and he's not finding like I don't know. As a I guess it's as number like a 10 attacking midfielder. Sorry, you want to be able to have that player that can kind of juice up the game probably, and you want that goal scoring aspect, I guess, from your attacking midfielder as well, and as well as kind of like passing it about and finding it through the lines. So as I say, it was a good game for both parts. I guess obviously Wanyeri had a good game as well. I think he had a few good chances as well, and obviously there's a few like good layoffs that he made as well. Rice played a good game as well. Calafiori had a good chance in start as well. I think he absolutely made a mock of that right back. I think it was when he curled it in and just unluckily hit the post. But yeah, as you could say, as I said earlier, it's pretty much showing that we're missing like an all-out strike force at the moment. Obviously, it's quite harsh to kind of give Wanyeri this opportunity. It's not harsh to give him an opportunity, but it's harsh to obviously rely on a 17-year-old to be able to be our only attacking outlet because Trossard he did okay, but doesn't seem to be obviously what being our answer to our lack of attacking outlet at the moment. So I'm hoping obviously Saka's getting back into the flow of things and can get back ASAP. Obviously, don't want to rush him in case he goes and does a Reece James and pulls it every 2 weeks or something like that. Um, but yeah, look, as I say, it's pretty. You're probably right, Dan. To be fair, you're probably right in saying like Liverpool's chances of winning the Premier League are probably up there at the moment. I thought they were going to go through like that hard stage where they had that like a game every like 3 days when they were playing Newcastle away, Man City away, but they done them. They've completely done them.
Their performances have dropped. Or but like you look at the start of the season, it's almost like they've, like you said, their games have been a bit closer now, but
Hmm.
they're
They're
not.
still getting the points. They're
Yeah,
still doing it.
and that's a sign of champions. Like
Agreed.
City
Yeah.
did it for years. Again, yes, there was the whole thing where you obviously drop points, so like key points of the last season. But we were sitting here looking at it, going the Bournemouth game, for example, off the top of my head from a couple of years ago, and think there was a last year, things like that. It was like that's a sign of a team that could potentially win the league. Obviously, it didn't end
Agreed.
up happening, but you're looking at Liverpool now, going, you're not playing well, you're winning games. Doesn't matter.
Exactly. They've got such a strong team. They've even got like players on the bench who, even if like these players do go off, for example, I guess obviously their main outlet is Salah, luckily, and obviously that he's been performing ever since the start of the season, which is what you want from your star player. But I guess obviously any other position on the pitch as well is covered pretty well on their bench as well. So, fair play to them. Obviously, I guess looking forward now, we got PSV tomorrow away, so it's going to be a tough game for us because they'll be up for it 100%. And hopefully we can be up for it as well. It's going to be, as I say, basing it off what I saw against Forest. It's going to be tough to obviously get us a goal just from like a normal kind of attacking outlet. We'd have to kind of walk it in as best we can with Mourinho up top. Maybe Arteta might change it up. I'm not sure, but I'm hoping obviously if we go into that game PSV and we manage to get something, even a draw away, because obviously they'll be up for it as well. So then at their ground, their fans will be behind them. It'll be tough to get 3 points, but a draw or 3 points will be what I'm looking for. It'll be tough, obviously, to take a loss if we do. But yeah, it's a tough kind of bracket that we've got at the moment anyway, because even if we do manage to go through and beat PSV, we're then met with the likes of Real Madrid if they beat, which they probably will beat whoever they're
And
playing.
again,
And then
PSG or Liverpool to go through that and things like
this is
that. Like,
this is what I'm saying is like our bracket. Then let's say, for example, and then we get lucky enough to beat Real Madrid, like, and you were faced with the likes
never
of
ending.
Aston Villa or Liverpool, who are also good teams, like, or PSG if they manage to somehow beat Liverpool. Like, it's a tough bracket. But then, as I say, if we manage to go all the way throughout this bracket and then we get to the final, we fully deserve to be there playing these sort of teams. So don't want to hear anything from you and me if we get to the final.
No, I was just going to make a point. I saw this in one of the fan videos last week,
Go for it.
talking about Liverpool's team. But do you guys remember Liverpool have had injuries as well? Do you remember Alisson was out for quite a while? A few more of their key players were out as well. So it's not like they've had an injury-free season. Of course, Salah hasn't been like injured like as such. But do you remember Jota's been out for a while?
I think they've been quite lucky in terms of
I mean,
like.
were they that lucky? I know Salah
No.
obviously.
I was
Salah's
going to say,
lucky, but like Alisson
yeah.
was out and then Kelleher came in. I mean, for Arsenal, if Raya's out, I don't think Neto would be at least half
No,
as good as.
that's what I was going to say. Like in terms
Yeah,
of like across a season, for example, like you'll look at, for example, like Chelsea. I'm pretty sure have had it when Jackson and Nkunku have been out. Like you've lost two players in one position.
yeah.
Whereas I think if Liverpool's been in, like if like Jota's been injured, for example, Gakpo's been fit, or just first they've had it like interchangeable players. But I think also that, as you touched on there, Salah being fit for the whole season. If Salah was out for even 6 weeks, like I saw a stat, I think it was the other day. I think 11 games, and this was a couple of weeks ago. I think 11 games out of the 28 that they've played, he's got a goal and an assist in. Like that's two goals. That's he's helping Liverpool to average 2 goals a game, and I think they're averaging 2.3 goals a game or something like that. So it's like literally without again, it's ifs and buts, but you think if Salah misses 6 weeks, it could be completely different. They could be level on points with Arsenal. And again,
Yeah.
it's that
It
thing.
also depends on
And they
Arsenal.
get a bit lucky. Like, you know how they just had Newcastle and Isaac barely missed the game recently. And then the one time he misses 3 days of football, he was back for the FA
And,
Cup,
and,
but he
and
missed
now
the
he's going to be
Liverpool
out
game.
for the probably the cup final as well.
Yeah, so it's just
And
like,
yeah,
Why
but
is he
again,
so a
out for
bit
the
lucky.
cup final?
he went off. He was injured obviously with the Liverpool game. Then he played against
Another
Brighton in
big
the
club.
cup.
Brighton.
Brighton in
Brighton,
the
yeah.
cup, and then he
Aaron
went off
Gordon
injured
out as
about
well.
70 minutes in as well. He went off. He went off injured. Callum Wilson came on and played extra time.
Gordon's out as well, isn't
Mm.
Yeah, that'd be a big miss. Again, it's
he?
but I suppose it's luck, but it's also Gordon is also stupid for that red card. That was a red card. I don't know why he's done that, but
Um, I've
but
got
yeah,
a
no.
couple questions for Elliot as well, just before we go on. Elliot, what would be a good season for Arsenal at this point now? In your opinion, what is a good,
Based off what's just happened in the past
based
two
on
months, yeah.
apps just this second today,
hmm
what would be a good Arsenal season? You'd be like, yeah, that was a good season for us.
Still managing to get second place
Okay.
and semi-final in the champ.
And are you Arteta out if he doesn't achieve any
No,
of these?
no.
Okay.
So
I
you're
know
as
you're
it stands. I was gonna say as it stands, you're
What are you laughing at, Shabizz?
Well, he asked that in a different way. He had like a build up this time.
Yeah.
It's the
I was
roundabout.
trying to catch him out.
Trying to like,
Took a
yeah, mind
detour.
games and
Yeah.
trying to manipulate.
I was just gonna say,
Go
Elliot.
for the
Obviously,
normal
on
way if you guys like. I mean, you still the compilation still continues, the trend continues. Arteta in or out.
I was just
In.
I was I was just going to say earlier, obviously, touching on you finishing like second, obviously, as you said, like one of your goals now for the season. So you're 6 points ahead of Forest with a 17 goal swing ahead of them, and 7 points ahead of City with 12 goals on them. So
Probably.
again,
Yeah.
it's those 17 goals are basically another like 2 or 3 points.
Mhm.
Um, so again, you should probably finish second.
Yeah,
Again, it's ifs,
should.
buts, and maybes, and shoulds and stuff like that. Um, is Saka going to be back by the end of the season? I think he will be, wouldn't he? Which would be good to have
Yeah,
him.
he will be back. He'll be back by the end of the month, I think.
Okay.
By the end of
Is
March.
there any point rushing him though?
No, but what I'm saying is, I think he's in training at the moment, so he hopefully will be back by the end of this month. That's a whole 4 weeks.
And PSV tomorrow, are you hopeful? You've obviously got a very poor record in the Champions League, reaching past this round. So are you hopeful? Do you think you can go all the way? You said semi-final, but in your heart, do you think you can go all the way?
In my heart, well, I guess if you're talking about my heart, yeah. I think
No,
in
in
anyone's
terms of
heart, you want
having
him
Real
to.
Madrid or Atletico in the round after, if you do
Brain.
In my brain, you mean, like logically, what do you think will
in
happen?
your brain.
I
Guys,
reckon
can we?
I reckon we'll beat PSV. I reckon we'll go
Yeah,
through. We'll beat them. I reckon we'll go through to the quarters, and then that'll
yeah.
be the big challenge. I can't tell you. I can't tell you. I'm hoping obviously we'll have a little
Um,
bit of an attacking outlet by the time we get to Real Madrid.
Well,
I
Guys,
Do get
also
there.
think I was going to say earlier as well. I don't know what your thought. And obviously, I know you're going to want to win the game and etc. etc. But it's a slightly different circumstances. But almost like our thoughts when England lost to France in the World Cup 22. You get knocked out to France. It's not like they're eventual finalists sort of thing. It's like
Yeah,
you get knocked out to Madrid. There's no shame in that. They're probably going to get to the final, or if not, be within touch and distance. If you were to
yeah.
again, no disrespect, lose to PSV tomorrow, obviously, and then lose the away the second leg, sorry, or things like that. Obviously, a quote unquote lesser team in current day Europe, that would probably be a very big disappointment. So I don't know what your thoughts on that are in terms of like if you were to lose to Madrid in the quarters, obviously before you would expect the semis.
We'll go ahead and win the Champions League, and it'll be fantastic. And I may have to get that Arsenal shirt
I mean,
eventually.
people start by winning the Champions
But
League with an
no, it'll
Arsenal
be
shirt.
so that I mean, so yeah. So if we win it, you have to get one. That's the thing.
I'd have to get one. You just give me one.
Yeah,
I wasn't
yeah,
about
that's fine.
having.
And you have
No,
to
was
wear
that
it. Yeah,
last year? I
and
didn't even
staple
get that
everywhere.
this year.
you have to wear it on the podcast after they
No,
win.
that was last year. That wasn't even this year. We didn't do
Yeah,
this.
well, we're adding on to this
Oh,
year.
so things have
He's
changed.
doing it
You
now.
actually think they might win it?
See, look, he's getting
No, I don't
scared.
think. All right, if
Yeah.
Arsenal win the Champions League,
Go on.
I will wear an Arsenal shirt in there.
We'll wear
The
one
the,
for you
fir-
guys.
the first episode.
Dan will
But
definitely wear one, but we'll all
I
wear one.
want to ask the rest of the boys, where do you guys think Arsenal will finish in the Champions League? Is it quarterfinal, semi-final, this
I don't
round?
even think they're going to get
It will
past
stop them.
tomorrow. I mean, tomorrow will be so definitive they'll be out. It's because of the form. There's it's a double-edged sword. So the losing and not getting points in the league title, then it takes some pressure off the Champions League. Now it's like the
Champions
whole
League.
season
Yeah.
is based on this PSV game,
Yeah.
and then it'll be the next one. And I just don't
Agreed.
think your player can handle that pressure. I'm sorry. So I think tomorrow, if they win by 2 goals, which I think will
Yeah.
happen, then
No,
they'll be
you
out.
completely. No, no,
So
no. I
I'm sorry,
completely
guys.
agree. That's exactly what I think. But that's why I said earlier in the podcast about Arsenal, when I was like, when we go to them tomorrow, I'm hoping for either a draw or a win. Because if we lose, I think we're out.
I
Yeah.
was going to
And
say,
then with
speak.
that, night more. Arsenal. Sorry, Dan. More Arteta.
All right.
No, so
Anyways,
some
okay.
major connection troubles here. Sorry, lads, bear with. Yeah,
All right.
Chavez. I don't know where you're up to. Sorry about that one, but yeah, Chavez at the FA.
Ipswich.
Sorry
Yeah.
about that. At the FA Cup and beating Ipswich in midweek with 10 men.
Yeah, that was a bigger game than you would think. I know we're Man United and we have a sense of entitlement when we play smaller clubs and we think, oh, we can't be relegated because we're immune to that. But the gap, I'm just confirming, the gap is now 16 points and it was 13 and it would have been 10. It was a 6-pointer game against Ipswich. And I think we actually put them in the coffin in that game. That probably is the end of Ipswich. So in the Premier League. And we did it in a way in which they should be a bit disappointed because we had 10 men. So, I don't even know how we won with 10 men. It seems like we are better with 10 men because, oh, if you remember, we had 10 men against you and we won. So
Yeah.
the two times it's happened, we've actually pulled out a result. But yeah, the game itself, nothing to look forward to, nothing positive to take that I would think in 5 years' time I could win a league with something that happened today. That's the sad thing. I mean, if Man United are 5, 10 years away from winning a league title, I don't even think any of the players that are here now will be a part of that because the good ones, for example, Bruno will probably be retired. There's a better chance of Bruno being a manager of Man United and winning the league with us than as a player at the moment. So it's really hard when there's nothing you can actually be positive about watching a team. So when I watch with my friends, we just laugh, joke about when things happen in the game and just that's it. And then I'd have to do the ratings, which feels like a chore because I don't like berating footballers week in, week out, but it seems to have to be forced. Garnacho's 21 games without a goal, Hoyland's 18 games without a goal. Hoyland, I remember, I think I told you a stat about Hoyland's minutes per goal. He's now officially worse than Adam Armstrong. So the only player worse than Hoyland for minutes per goal this season is, if you remember,
Oh, I can't remember. I did.
Mikel Antonio. Mikel
The
Antonio.
Poker hasn't played football in like
And
2 months.
Antonio has to do is score a goal, and I'm sure then
I
he'll be way ahead.
I saw a stat, or I think it was a screenshot, whether you put it in the chat or you mentioned it, and it was like on FootMob, like the four lowest players,
Yeah,
And Hoyland was like the fourth worst player by
in the
average
league.
match rating
Yeah.
in the league.
Of any player, not even just the position. It's just so sad to watch. I mean, he's so it's when a striker is off form, like it happens. Strikers can go on bad patches. At least they get involved, get stuck in, come deeper, receive the ball, play a pass. Hoyland tries to do that, and it's just funny to watch. So if you take it in a comedic way, you can actually enjoy
You're
watching Man United
entertained.
because we genuinely laugh when he plays because it's just fascinating. It's as bad as it gets. So other positions, Dorgu had a horrible game. I mean, that miss. I don't know if you saw the goal, the first one, where it was a mix-up between Dorgu and Onana.
I don't
Uh,
think that was partly
whose
his fault. Partly his fault for not looking.
whose fault is it
But
more?
he should have looked, but I don't think it was that much danger for Onana to come out there. I think it was just Chuckle Brothers. I don't think it was. Do you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
I think
He
both are
should
to
have
blame, but I
looked.
thought Dorgu was more to blame, Dan, because he clearly could see that Onana's not this. Why did he perfectly place it? Either way, it happened and it was poor, and then he got
It was
sent
a
off.
great pass. He
So
can't do it.
just a shocking game for Dorgu all round. And after that, we just sort of it's all Bruno, by the way. I've apologized, I think, on this podcast about what I've said about Bruno in the past. I'm never going to say anything bad about him again, even if he has a bad game. Can't believe I said Odegaard's better than him. You put Bruno into any system, he'll excel. We are in debt to him. He's not in debt to us. He could go to any club right now. He'd start for them and win the league, but he's stuck here, and we're just sort of using him to get 15th. Like that, and this is the thing. The sad part about it is, in the last 7 days, we've had Roy Keane absolutely destroy Bruno. I don't know why. I still don't understand Roy Keane's analysis sometimes. And then I think Neil Warnock was on yesterday saying Bruno's not good enough when he's like the only reason we're even in the position we're in. He's the goal scorer, he's the assist maker, he's the chance creator. And there's statistics to prove that. And if you understand from his perspective what he's doing on the pitch and why he plays hoofball sometimes, you'd understand what he's doing. But yeah, and then El, it's some interest for you in the game we just had. We can go to that. We just lost to Fulham in the FA Cup, and Chido and Heaven played. Heaven looked very good, by the way. I was ready for him to play even earlier, but he's ready to start if he needs to because left-footed centre back, he's progressive, he's actually good with the ball, and he's physical enough to cover for any defensive deficiencies he has for now. Because I think a lot of defenders now, the clubs are looking at them being progressive and positive on the ball, and then they hope that they can learn being a better defender on the job. So I think Heaven can. He's quite physical in that sense. Chido was very raw when he came on. I mean, you could
I
tell
think
he's
he was
not ready.
unlucky.
Yeah, in an ideal world, Chido's not playing until the start of preseason next season, but he's being forced because we've got an unprecedented situation with our strikers, how bad they are. He came on and he actually got into positions because he's got a brain of a striker. And it all comes down to that. I think Hoyland's something's happened to him. He's lost his brain in the summer because he doesn't think like a striker. Garnacho is just extremely frustrating. I wish Chelsea got him with that money because it's completely useless having a player who's threatening when he can't finish. He's the worst finisher, I think, in the Premier League for someone who has had more than 10
He's
big
won the
chances.
postgas.
His conversion rate is 5%, which is every other player who's in that big chance bracket of above 10, which all of the big ones are. They all have 20, 15, 30% chance conversion. Chris Wood, by the way, is one of the best. So it's just like, in an attacking sense, it's an absolute shit show. Xerxes is not a striker. We've learned that over the last few months. He's just a player who can play in that inside 10. He's not that goal scorer week in, week out. He's done okay, but he's not a striker. He's not a goal scorer. So yeah, it's sort of a write-off, isn't it? And we've got Arsenal next. We've got Sociedad. Well, away in Spain, we're not good. But the Arsenal game, there's a protest before that game because the ticket prices have gone up. United are proudly announcing that they're sacking staff. I don't know why that gets announced like it's a
That
celebration.
sandwich thing true that they can only get snacks now in their canteen, or is
No,
that?
a lot of it is BS. I saw there's so much BS about it. Like it's not that much of a piss take. I saw where Jim Ratcliffe said you have to take your kit home and wash them yourself. That was all fake accounts. But you never know. Like it might
You have
actually
to
get to
take
that
your what?
point.
Sorry, you have to do what?
Take your kit home and wash
I,
it
s- I
instead
saw
of having.
I saw a tweet and it was like Jim Ratcliffe celebrated that you're getting knocked out of the cups. You haven't got to spend money to wash your kits in the later rounds. It was like,
But on Sunday there is a protest, and I'm hoping it's a big one because this Ineos's first year has not been good, and we don't have the vocal we don't have the people in the positions of where people are listening, like the Gary Neville position of punditry, that are actually being vocal about how bad Ineos's first year has been. It's because they are involved with Ineos in the sense that, for example, Gary Neville is involved in the regeneration of the new Old Trafford and the Manchester area. He can't talk against Ineos, so it all just falls on Amram, Amram's system, Amram's tactics. Change your system, change your tactics when we blame Ten Hag for doing that and going away from his principles literally 4 or 5 months ago. So it's like we have amnesia as a fan base. And I wish we had someone vocal like that that could talk about how Ineos haven't done good. It's okay to accept that and still say, just improve. We don't need to get new ownership, obviously, but just accept that they've messed up because I mean, we've got like we're sacking people and actual like human beings that have your average job. When you've got Mason Mount, I know it's not his fault. Mason Mount didn't choose to be injured, but he's been out for so long, and how much money does he earn? And then you see him with photos with the Chelsea squad a few days ago, just meeting up with them. Like I know it's infuriating. Like it asks for pressure on yourself. Luke Shaw, he doesn't even have a return date. So and so does Mason Mount doesn't have a return date either. And then you've like all that wage going to players who don't contribute, they don't work, and then you've got actual work people who are getting sacked. So it's just a shit show, guys. It's
it would
never been
almost be
worse.
like I know you can't in terms of change what's happened. For example, Mount being injured, like you didn't obviously sign him to be injured, for example. But I
Yeah,
remember
he was
years
not an injury-prone player.
No, but I remember like years ago, for example, well, no, it's a different story because we'd actually signed him. Like with Welbeck, we had like a pay as you play, so he would get a certain amount, and if he played, he'd get the bonus to like a full wage amount. I don't know whether you could
Mm.
implement something like
He was a
that, for
bit injured in his
example.
final season, Chavez, for
Mm.
Chelsea. I don't remember him playing that much in his final year for Chelsea.
Oh, but he's also been quite unlucky. Like, was it head injury that kept him out, and then he went for a scan and then picked up something else or something? Was it not? Like they picked up something else that was wrong with him, was it
Well,
not?
I don't care. He's a traitor
No,
anyway.
yeah, he still has leg issues, but it was a head injury that instigated him to find out about his leg issue.
Yeah, like it's just
It's,
complete.
but I say you just have to read the room a bit. I don't know if you've seen him, but Mount was with your squad literally on the
And
weekend,
Yeah, there was
and
Tuchel as well.
Tuchel for
and by
the.
the way, but all for players enjoying themselves. But he's a player he's earning the most
Yeah, but
money for
Elliot
someone
doesn't have a problem with
working.
Jorginho being there.
No. I mean, I'll tell you why. It's because he's a player who's earning an incredible wage for not someone who's not able to work. And then in the same like week, we've had so many of our staff like sacked, just for
Well,
because we don't have
from
enough
his
money.
end, what do you expect him to do? Just give up his
Just
salary?
keep No, not to give up his salary. Keep your head down and stop posting about with other teams' players in a week, which has been a sad week for the club, and a lot of people that love the club and are around the club. There's a lot of the room not being read. I mean, did you not see the Garnacho thing? He got subbed off in the last game, because we had a red card, right? This was on Thursday. Dorgu got sent off, so we had to sacrifice. Garnacho walked off the stadium apparently because he needed to change his shirt, but then straight after the game, posted a sad picture of himself on Instagram, like an angry one. And then like that's sort of cockiness. You've not scored for 21 goals, buddy, 21 games, buddy. And Amram said, okay, he's bought dinner for the team and he's apologized. But it's like there's just the mindset is so it's a bit of a joke in there.
Where are you on the Amarim out scale? Are you still
No,
firmly at zero?
Dan, I was never Amram out. And even if Amram got relegated, I didn't need to be Amram out because Amram would leave the club and go to a club that would compete in the Champions League. So there is no situation where we can say we're Amram out because he would leave us if we got relegated. Obviously, I don't like a Man United manager getting relegated. I'd want him out, but it doesn't matter if I want him out because he'd leave, he'd resign and go on to bigger things. And I'm sure he'd win a league title. I'm sure that Ten Hag will win a league title. He's going to get his club in July, whatever it is. He'll win one before Man
But
United.
you look at like
And we are lucky
Was
to
it
have a
Van Gaal
manager
and
like that.
stuff like that's gone on? I was I was going to say before we bring the podcast to the end, I'd like a little Watford segment yet again, but it's actually about our youth team, our youth cup run. Some Christmas miracle here. We're very close to a trophy. We're into the final four. We've beaten Spurs. We've beaten 4-2. We beat Southampton 2-1. We're at home at the Vicarage Road against Man City in the semi-finals of the Youth Cup, which is
Will you be going to the game?
I will be. But again, like for a youth team, for a club that, like as you've seen before, like for example, Harry Amass has gone to United and things like been poached by Chelsea and obviously Arsenal and things like that. It's nice to see our youth team getting into the semis. So yeah,
Well, of
good
course,
luck,
they're
good
the
luck, lads.
foundation for the next generation, aren't they?
Yeah,
I mean, do you remember our one back in the day, the Abrahams, the Reece
yeah.
James, Loftus Cheeks, etc. They're
So
like a foundation.
it's a big competition for a lot of players, and for us to be in the semi final is massive
I mean,
for us.
class of '92, they won that, didn't they? And then they all ended up going into the United first team. So,
Quite a few of them that are actually breaking. I said breaking in. They're getting a few minutes here and there in our first team as well. So yeah, I mean it's looking promising. We just need to keep hold of them, I suppose. I think that brings us to the end of the episode. Really, we've touched everything else. For anyone that cares, the FA Cup. I suppose the FA Cup draw. We put in City or Newcastle down as winners. Newcastle were out. Sorry. Newcastle were second favourite. Sorry, was what I was going to say. Oh, we put
Who's
in
in the
City
Carabao
down.
final? Who's in the Carabao final?
Liverpool, Newcastle.
Liverpool, Newcastle, wasn't it?
Oh, lovely. I don't want Man City winning multiple trophies. They're probably going to win it, right? See.
I'll probably win the FA Cup though, wouldn't they?
Well,
Oh,
who's
Newcastle could do a double, domestic double.
It's Liverpool
No,
out of
no,
the FA
Newcastle
Cup.
were out. They lost to Brighton, didn't they? That's what I said.
Oh,
They
yeah.
were second favourites. But obviously it's Bournemouth, Man City, which Villa could do it.
Do you know what? I would absolutely, and I think you guys would agree, love if Iraola won a trophy with Bournemouth. He deserves it so
Definitely.
much.
Yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
that would be incredible.
We've
Even
got.
Emery winning one, but
I mean, Villa have got Preston, so again, probably should get through that. Fulham Palace is a toss up. Like there's a
if
fairly
Bournemouth
even
beat Man
game.
City, Dan, if
Bournemouth
Bournemouth beat,
City it's at the Vitality, and then Brighton
yeah,
against Ipswich or Forest. That's currently 0-0. So
yeah.
I would. Villa should get through to the semis, and all of the other games.
I mean, Arsenal, this was the perfect trophy for them to win. But
This was, but yeah.
there we
You know
go.
what it is?
Shame,
I
isn't
mean,
it?
it happens every season. I think there's like a mindset shift in Arsenal where they're focusing on the league because they're in it, and by the time they get out of the cups, the league's done as well. So then it's like you've lost everything. Now it's all on your Champions League. At least you know that the league is over for you to focus on the Champions League. You should be going all out. There should be not a single
Where's
player
the
rested
place to
tomorrow.
look at there?
Odegaard should be arms around every single player tonight, telling them like this is it.
Oh
Like
yeah,
He
no
won't
more.
know.
no more expected hair flicks and all that stuff. We'll go like this.
Yeah,
Tuck them in, give them a kiss on the cheek,
Yeah.
wish them good night, and
yeah,
good luck in the morning, I suppose. Well, we'll
yeah.
see you next week, where we will see where Arsenal win the Champions League, and hopefully our teams have picked up some more points. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.